vote, and I think by 4 p.m. we shall be counting those votes. Otherwise, without further ado, let's get into some news coming in. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has appointed Justice Dr. Flavian Nzeija as the new Chief Justice of Uganda. Now, this appointment follows the retirement of the former Chief Justice Alphonse Owindolo, who officially stepped down on January 18th, 2026, upon reaching the mandatory retirement age of 70. Those are some of his highlights and pictures of when the event was happening. And of course, we do wish Dr. Flavian Nzeija or congratulate her upon her appointment. All right, and then Lauren.
Now into Rubaga. Well, voter turnout in the division elections has remained very, very low despite election materials arriving on time at the polling stations. Now, from Lord Mayor candidates to councillors, the incumbent Lord Mayor, Elias Lukwago, says that the low voter turnout raises concerns about the public confidence in the electoral process. Now, at several polling stations, polling agents outnumbered the voters, with some stations reporting no voters at all by 11 a.m. Take a look.
The particular one where I vote from, 37 out of 479 registered voters. That is at that particular polling station. I've told you there are others. There is another one with the 560 and another one and so many others. But the particular one where I have voted from, only 37 by 11 out of 479. That tells you the picture of what is happening. Low voter turnout, which of course you can attribute to voter apathy, public despondence, and frustration. Many people are disillusioned with the electoral processes.
People are telling us, you revote it yourself, we are not coming. So I expect there is that element also, that people maybe we are not happy with the previous election. That's why they are trying, some of them, to ignore this election.
Personally, I've endeavored to ask them, but with no response at all, as to why there are no machines. First of all, I started with the issue whether they would be operational today, given the tragedy we suffered during the presidential elections up to now. And indeed, even if I had not asked, they owe the nation a duty to explain to us. So for this particular polling station, they are not there. And they were cagey on whether actually they would use the machines or not. They were not so categorical. And they were actually ambivalent, if I may borrow that word. They were just ambivalent on this, to fudge around and say probably where they are functional, they will use them.
Though the turn-up is still very low, I'm seeing very few people, but I believe they will come. And I'm inviting everyone to come and vote, because these are our leaders. It is our responsibility as citizens to vote. So
the turn-up here of our people, it has not been that much. People are still coming, but the numbers are very small. Some people are saying that they are still upset. Others are saying they are annoyed because of the voting process which was there for the presidential candidate. But we've tried our best as as observers, as supervisors for our candidates. Even other candidates have tried their best to see that people can come here to mobilize their voters to come and vote.
Yes, those are updates coming in from Rubaga at the polling station where the Lord Mayor was voting from. Now, Lauren, of course, one of the key issues here that we're seeing is low voter turnout. Yes. And what do you think caused that, or is causing low voter turnout?
I tend to think that probably some people, by the way, forget. And you know, some looked at the bigger picture. For example, the presidential elections. They thought that was the most important thing. Have you picked? Have you voted for your president? Have you voted for your representative, your member of in parliament? Yeah. I don't want to say that Ugandans forgot. No,
I don't think they forgot. But also there is still more time, because I remember at some point at the presidential election, the voter turnout seems still to be low, but it almost matched 2021 times, because if it for the general elections, for the presidential,
11 a.m. still, you know, the agents being the
perhaps
agents
we could
more than the voters.
We could look at the metric. We could look at the metric of time being a factor.
Yes.
But I also think,
or maybe
that
it's also being a working day.
It's
it
being
Thursday,
a working day.
It's
That's true.
A working day.
That's true. That's true. But also, I think for a fact we cannot judge until the Electoral Commission has finally made its declaration on how many people actually voted. But I also do apologize. I might have made a reference to Dr. Flavian Nzeija as a she. Dr. Flavian Nzeija is a he, and he is the new Chief Justice of Uganda.
Yes, indeed.
And what about, let's talk about the contribution of the incumbent, the Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago. What are some of the things you know him for?
I mean, apart from the negatives, one thing, it is a fourth term that he's seeking this office. And I also believe that with the time that he has spent as Lord Mayor, I feel he has obviously fought for the development of the city, most especially, you know, the central city, really. And of course, I know that he's worked with other partners, that is KCCA, in beautifying the city. I mean, look around, see how vibrant the city is, and also the city dwellers as well. That's pretty much what I know.
Okay, I think for what I know about him, he's been very vocal on trying to protect public assets in Kampala. I remember I had an interaction with him sometime before the Chitezi incident happened, and he had tried to put the Chitezi issue, you know, vocalized out there. And even when it happened, he seemed to come out to say, you know, we brought a study and we tried to publicize it, telling, you know, government that Chitezi is a looming crisis in the coming. And besides Chitezi, I think he's also been vocal on the Nachivubo Channel scenario, where I think he's trying to face off with Hamis Kigundu against, you know, trying to take, you know, the Nachivubo Channel into private hands. So yeah, he's done that and some other things, and he's been vocal, one thing for sure. So I think the electorate needs to know this, and that's one of the ways you could, you know, look at Lukwago.
And maybe just giving a brief bio of Erias Lukwago, the incumbent Lord Mayor seeking a fourth term in office. We all do know that he first got into this position in 2011. He's been holding this position since 2011, and he's affiliated with the People's Front for Freedom Party. And also another thing I know, that he's a veteran Ugandan lawyer and politician. Like I did say, he held this position since 2011 as Lord Mayor, and also known as a very, very strong personality for his strong stance in defending urban residents' interests, and also critiquing, of course, some mishaps, here and there. But also, his campaign focus has been mainly on improving infrastructure, that is the roads, the markets, market protection, safeguarding. You talked about the safeguarding of public assets, and also continuing his advocacy for Kampala's urban poor. Some of the strengths that I do see, I mean, if he was to come back in power, he's been in this position for I would say, the longest time. And he knows all corners, of the city. And I feel like his work is not yet done. Or he believes that his work is not yet done. That's why he's coming in for a fourth term in office. So of course we do wish him all the best. Of course, they also come through some weaknesses. You have been in office for this long. What the goals that he set, let's say in 2021, has he been able to achieve them in the next 5 years? Or if he hasn't, will he achieve them in the next 5 years to come? Well, we are yet to find out and to see how you get the Ugandan voted today.
And then also his major contestant, or one of his contestants, is Ronald Balimwezo Subuga, who was born on November 28, 1972. He's a Ugandan politician and a professional civil engineer, currently serving as the Member of Parliament for Nakawa East and the chairperson for the Kampala City Roads Committee. As of January 22nd, 2026, he's the National Unity Platform candidate for the Kampala Lord Mayor in the ongoing local government elections. Well, in 2026, on January 20, of course, Balimwezo cast his vote at Chisawe, Zone 4, Mutungo Parish in Nakawa East. And the key priorities, his platform focuses on restoring social services, improving city hygiene and garbage disposal, cleaning public markets, and eradicating slums. He also emphasizes the Lord Mayor should be a strategic leader rather than a ceremonial figure. And that then takes us to a story about this particular candidate. Unity Platform flag bearer for the Kampala Lord Mayor race, Ronald Balimwezo, has praised residents for participating in the democratic process, but also criticized government for neglecting the local government elections. He says that the low voter turnout reflects a lack of seriousness and from authorities, pointing out that essential incentives such as declaring election day a public holiday were not provided to encourage participation. Let's take a look at some of the highlights on his polling station.
Nakawa or beyond Nakawa, it is good note that indeed the voters of those particular areas have at least acknowledged the fact that it is their mandate to be part of this process. We want to thank whoever has already cast his vote, and those who have not yet made it, you are kindly encouraged that please, there's still time, you can. But for the likes of people like Balimwezo, they are working tooth and nail that their party secures victory. And for that particular case, our viewer, let's go in and listen to Honorable Subuga Balimwezo.
You are live on NBS. Let me begin with Luganda, then I will conclude with English. My name is Balimwezo Ronald Nsubuga, the incoming Lord Mayor. And I'm here with the Lord Mayoress, who is my wife. I want to appreciate God that has given us the opportunity as residents of Kampala to come and vote for a competent, serious and organized Lord Mayor for the city. Today I've just cast my vote together with my wife. And the process is going on well, apart from a few areas where we have had hindrances. The vote show is only on the low turn up. The low turn up as a result of government not taking local governments serious. Local governments are so serious that we should have had a holiday for all the people to be able to vote because it's constitutional. But also it's written in the Bible that all voting separates mighty people. So we are quite a number of mighty people, but it's only the vote that is supposed to separate us. And we have one winner. But unfortunately, it has not been accorded.
Initially had said there will be use of technology.
Yes, and that's Balimwezo for you.
Yeah, still of
What
course,
do you make of that candidate?
I mean, yes, like the way he said, the next Lord Mayor of Kampala City. The mere fact that he has a background in engineering, probably he could be knowing all the dynamics that comes with, you know, urban development, etc.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I would say some of the strengths of compared to, well, not compared to areas of Kwago, but just generally in the Kampala City mayor race. Maybe it is time for Kampala City to have a new face.
A new face,
you know,
yeah.
when it comes to the mayor, can pick on from where the incumbent has has brought the city thus far. I do not know, but that is, of course, your vote that will tell,
yeah.
whether I'm right or wrong. Those are my own personal views. Yeah.
All right, and then, of course, the other candidate is Beatrice Nambi Mao, who is a Ugandan politician and or representing the Democratic Party, and she's the flag bearer for the 2026 Kampala Lord Mayor race. And as of January 22nd, she's actively contesting in the ongoing local government elections.
A female. That is.
Yes,
that
a female. I think it makes for good gender balancing.
Absolutely,
And
it is.
one thing for sure is that she's also the wife of the president, the general president of the Democratic
Party, and
Norbert
also
Mao.
Minister of Justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her campaign, of course, focuses on fighting corruption with the Kampala Capital City Authority, within the Kampala Capital City Authority, improving city infrastructure and managing waste effectively. Her political stance is that she is critical, or she critiques the current leadership for excessive political friction and advocates for a collaborative approach, stating that a Lord Mayor must engage with the national president to serve the city effectively.
Right.
Her personal life and background, of course, she is the wife of Norbert Mao, the President General of the Democratic Party, and Uganda's Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. They married just recently. That was actually in 2024.
Yeah.
And she's also outside politics, managing Teot Farm Estate in Gulu, a 40-acre farm specializing in coffee and fruit trees and nursery seedlings. Her education and profession, she has been involved in community-based initiatives and focusing on youth empowerment and leadership development. Some of the highlights you're seeing on the screen are earlier from today.
Oh yes, when she cast her
voting.
vote earlier today in Busabala, and thereafter she addressed the media alongside her husband Norbert Mao, who last week made, of course, a grand return to Parliament. You know that he has taken on the MP seat for Larua Peche division. So big congratulations to him, and also just seeing him, you know, being standing alongside his wife, you know, as she cast her vote for the mayor race is quite amazing, isn't it? I mean, they're just newly married. You say they got married in 2024, and here he is supporting his wife throughout the process. So just take a look at the highlights that happened earlier on today.
Visibility.
Well, so far we've been able to have areas.
I think here. Yes. A comment about the day.
Today was great. Today was great. Yeah, today was good. Today was good. I was born here, actually, up there, and it feels good to be back home. And the turn-up is not all that good, but let's see what happens.
Does the turn-up affect you in any way?
It kind of does, because I think in future we need to create awareness and let people know that exercising your rights is very, very important in terms of changing leaders.
Why do you think we are confused? Because we've seen them in the presidential election, but this time around they got
I think they got discouraged by the last voting of the presidential elections when they turned up in masses and the technology wasn't working. So I think they just didn't bother to come.
What do you expect in this election?
I'm expecting a win. I'm expecting a win. Yeah. Yeah. Kintiisizza in a way, but kintiisizza naye tulina okumanya nti I think abalonzi luli bwe bajja okulonda president ne ba member of parliament ne basanga ng'ebyuma tebikola bagetinga discouraged. Ekirala obululu buno bwa local government abantu tebabwettanira tebamanyi na kumanya kuba abamu babadde bankubira nga baŋŋamba tulonderawo ku KCCA oba n'olwekyo tulina okuyigiriza abantu ne tuteekawo ebiraga nti okulonda gye kuli era tulondera wano. Nsuubira nti gye bujja tulina okikola. Bannakampala bansuubiremu bingi okuteebereza mulabe oluguudo lwe muyiseemu okujja okutuuka wano bwe lufaanana, wano we nazaalibwa, wano we nakulira. N'olwekyo bansuubiremu bingi eby'enguudo, eby'amasomero, eby'obuyonjo n'ebirala bingi nnyo. N'olwekyo mbasaba obululu bwabwe wadde nze mmaze okulonda.
Mu kalulu akawedde ku bapulezidenti n'abaka palamenti bangi bo bakalangirira abaali bavuganya omutima gyali tegibateese bagamba waliwo okubba obululu mu kaseera akasembayo nga abawangudde tebalangirira. Gwe Beatrice Mao kino kyetegekeddwa otya ku ssaawa esembayo nga kamaze okuvuna ku lwaleero?
Nze omulimu gwange ngukoze, meseji yange etambudde, abantu bawutegedde kikyendi kikyensobola okukola. N'olwekyo ebirala byonna ŋŋenda birekera ab'obuyinza ababirimu babitambuze. Ekinaavaayo kyonna era omutima gujja kusigala nga nkyayagala okuweereza abantu bange.
Minisita Kasirinyo, gwe Minisita Ssemateeka ekyali kyagala okuva mu palamenti okaka bannayuganda okulonda, gwe olowooza essaawa kireete gwe kuba akakiiko kateekamu okulonda ekyanaawo temateeka.
Mulimu amawanga nga Belgium okulonda kuli compulsory era wotalonda gavumenti ekkubako fine, naye mu Uganda kijja kutwala obudde. Sikiwa nti ababaka bajja kukikkiriza kubanga eri ddembe lyo, naye nga abatalonda be batulondera abakulembeze ababi. Omuntu yenna ng'amanyi nti talonda kitegeeza wetufuna omukulembeze atawera, abo abatalonze be baba bamuleese.
Honorable, abantu balowooza nti deployment za presidential election ne operations ezaddakaawo nezikyagenda mu maaso zezavuddeko okuaffectinga turn-up okuva ku presidential, kubanga ne presidential electoral commission ekulaga nti erina abalonzi 21 million ne around only 11 be balonda. Abantu balowooza nti deployment n'ebigambo ebyali biveno, we are going to crush you, don't do this, don't do that, bye byatiisizza abantu okujjumbira okulonda nga si bangi paka kati. As a government minister, what is your view?
Deployment ebeerawo ku lw'embeera. Kati okusinziira ku bye tulabye w'osanga nga drone namba ey'abakulembeze ab'ebibiina ebimu mujjuddemu amajambiya. Kati gwe omunnabyabufuzi ayagala obuyinza, lwaki otambula n'amajambiya? Oda kintu kikulu nnyo. Teri gavumenti eyinza kulekerawo okukuuma emirembe, kubanga awatali oda ensi eba teriiwo. Mutunuulire amawanga amalala omutali oda. N'olwekyo nsaba bannayuganda mujje ebyobufuzi mu nsonga za security, kubanga mmwe muli awo mulowooza byabufuzi naye temumanyi nti waliwo ate abapanga ebirala. Tetwagala kulaba ntalo ku polling stations, naye nga ekirala ekireetera abantu obutajja okulonda bwe buweereza obunafu. Kwegamba abantu bagenda ne basalawo nti ne bwe tunaalonda tebajja tuweereza. N'ekirala enkola eno eyampankuwe, kati munnabyabufuzi wamala okuwa gwe ekikyoba okifunye ng'onyuse nakyo, kitegeeza tajja kuweereza. Kyoba olaba nti abantu bajjula ku rale waliwo ke bayinza okufuna, naye mu kulonda tebajja. Kitegeeza nti kati ebyobufuzi bifuuse bya pay as you go. Ekyo kye tulina okutunuulira ennyo. Kyoba olaba nti kati abakulembeze bafudde balonzi kufuuka nga bamalaaya, babagula buguzi. Kati omuntu wamala okugula ne bwakusanga enkya takufaako, akulaba nga kasasiro. N'olwekyo abalonzi naffe tweseemu ekitiibwa, abakulembeze baleme kutuvuluga, tubeere nga tusobola okubagambako. Naye omukulembeze yakuguze omugambako otya? N'oluguudo toyinza mugamba nti oluguudo lubi, agamba nti kakati gumira embeera. Naye nga tulonde abakulembeze be tugenda okubanja nga bagenze mu ofiisi. Okusookera ddala tusobodde okuleeta candidate alimu ensa, candidate ali exposed, candidate amanyi ekibuga bwe kirina okuba. Naye osanga abantu bo basazeewo to live positively with bad leaders. Ndowooza oluusi embeera eyo ebeera mu Kampala. Naye nze mu kulaba kwange tuli mu stage ya development nga bannakampala balina okumanya nti beetaaga omukulembeze ayinza okubeera olutindo. Tukoze olutindo ne gavumenti ya wakati, tukoze olutindo ne kibiina ekiri mu buyinza. Sente za gavumenti zituuke mu bantu, tuve mu bino ebyokugabira abooluganda abako n'emikwano. Ekyo tukikoze. N'ekirala, kandidate waffe tugezezaako nnyo okutambula naye, newankubadde nga tulina okusoomoozebwa olw'ensonga eziri mu kibiina, naye nga tumanyi nti kandidate wa DP yasinga mu bakandidates bonna. Tekitegeeza nti twamenye etteeka. Waliwo akakiiko k'ebyokulonda ke kaasalawo, kuba ebyuma we byagaana, nayogera ne chairman we Electoral Commission n'akola consultation ze, oluvannyuma n'asalawo nti tulonde nga tukozesa manual. Ekyo kitukoseza, naye tetugenda kwogera ku nsonga lwaki ebyuma byagaana, kuba wajja kubeerawo okunoonyereza abantu abali technical ate nga bava bweru wa Electoral Commission be balina okunoonyereza ku nsonga eno, kubanga twakozesa sente nnyingi nnyo okugula ebyuma ebyo. Wakyaliwo kye tulina okukola okunoonyereza.
Consequence ebeera etya kaluluke twamaze okukuba kubanga waliwo illegalities muhumo kubanga
tewali illegality, kubanga constitution egamba nti abantu balonde. Osobola okukozesa ebyuma oba osobola okukozesa empapula zino eza voters register. Tewaliwo teeka lyonna lye twamenye.
In English about DP and the city, then
some men are not supportive to their ladies. What brings you to Busabala?
Next question.
In English.
Supportive to their ladies. What brings you to Busavala at this moment, and where did you vote from?
I am registered in Gulu, and my dear wife is a candidate for Lord Mayor. When you are a husband, husband comes from the word husbandry. That means you care. So any man who is caring would stand by his wife. So I am here to stand by my wife and to tell the public that, first of all, her family and my family, we have decided to support her, to offer herself to serve Kampala. And she did it based on her dream, which she has held even before we met. This is a dream she has had since like 2017. So I am here as a supportive husband, as a supportive friend, and also a leader of the Democratic Party who believes that we have offered the best. And I think it is for the same reasons that you are here.
DP and the city in English. The city had gone out of your hand as a party. How much effort?
When DP was in charge, the ordinary people were happy in Kampala. We must know that we are still a developing country. This is not a city for skyscrapers only. This is not a city for people who trade in dollars. But with the coming in of Lord Mayor Lukwago, because he's sponsored by corrupt businessmen and businesswomen, he is not accountable to the ordinary people. He just postures. So people are missing DP, and DP will come back in this election because DP is a party of the ordinary people. That's why our symbol is the hoe. When Sebana Kizito was here, he started estates like Namuongo so that the poor people are not chased away. But now the poor people are being chased to Matuga. They are being told go to Luwero. The poor people are being told go to the suburbs. Now they are saying we have Kampala Metropolitan Authority. That means the poor are leaving. But when DP was in charge, we told the people that you belong here. And Beatrice has been saying she wants a city for everyone. Just like you have traffic. When you have a road, you have big trucks, you have small trucks, you have cars, you have motorcycles, bicycles, and even pedestrians. So Kampala should also have room for all classes of people. And that's why DP governed Kampala better. When DP was in charge, nobody ever died. No hawkers were ever chased to their death. We never allowed enforcement officers. We never privatized some of the services. We made sure the government remained the government.
You elected constitutional
Right there, scenes of the polling station where the candidate Beatrice Mao was casting her vote.
Yeah.
Of course, right in her company was her husband, Norbert Mao, but
Yes.
I'm a little concerned that Norbert Mao took the shine a little more than his wife.
I felt I needed her to speak more about the plans that she has for the city, you know, if she goes through as a Lord Mayor.
Yeah.
But then here comes, but just like we were discussing earlier on, I feel like chipped in as her president of the party.
Yes, of course, in this context, he's holding two offices. He's holding the office of her husband.
Yes.
But he's also holding the office
As a party president.
Her president.
Yes.
So yes, that could justify, but more than anything, I think it was important. It is important that the electorate get to hear more from the
candidates themselves
than the party president, because then that could send wrong signals. You know, if your Lord Mayor is home, she might get the instruction from the party president.
From the party president.
Or she don't know if she's getting the instruction from the party president or the husband that, hey, this is what Kampala needs. And, you know, yes, sir. So But anyways, let's wait for the polls to dictate that, and then we'll be able to give you those updates. But in more news, voter turnout was low in the morning in the local council elections in Kira municipality at most polling stations visited this morning. Area leaders attribute the poor response to limited public awareness about the polling day and the absence of a public holiday to allow residents participate in electing their district leaders. We have some highlights with Crispus Arinitwe.
Today it has been a good work because the voters' material came earlier, very early. The voters' material were already at the station. Though the voters have not turned in number, because even right now some of the tarring whatever boxes they have not yet opened them. Reason, the voters don't know that they are supposed to vote today. They don't know because they refuse publicity to take some publicity to the people. They need silence in the country, so we have not communicated using microphones and so on to tell the people that they're supposed to come and vote. Some they know, but few have not come.
Polling material going early, and the polling process started going early in the morning. However, the turnout so far has been so low. We are yet to establish, we still have some period of time to establish facts, to know whether people have come, whether people have not come. So we are here, but currently the situation is calm. People are having a peaceful process. People are coming in small numbers, but we believe that today we shall have one of the best and one of the most peaceful elections. Today we are handling the election of LC5s, those who are representatives who are to go and represent us at a district level. So I appeal to all Ugandans who are out there to come and cast, to come and show their mandate, to come and vote for their leaders.
Very special day in the governance of the Republic of Uganda. You realize that 22nd January has commenced key leadership matters. So at central level leadership is your local government leader, is the mayor, the LC3 chairperson, the district chairperson. So we call upon government, let's have respect for local governance. Let's see that local governments are given what is due for them. We cannot continue in this manner when few funds are put at local governance, when little attention is given to local governance. So I call upon government to ensure that we strengthen local government leadership so that Ugandans can have better service delivery at the end of it all when they know well the kind of person they're going to elect as a local government leader.
So that's the polling station where they're voting local government leaders at Chira, Chaliwajala, and that's the polling station that we've just been looking at. Of course, our reporter Crispus Arinitwe noted earlier this morning that voter turnout was low, and we do have him on call to update us on how the voting is going on at this time. So, Crispus, good afternoon. How are you, and how is it looking like at Chira, Chaliwajala?
Yes, thank you so much, Mark Wadulo Arnold. Yes, I'm coming to you live from Chira municipality, specifically in Chaliwajala Center. I just want to give you a snapshot of this Chira municipality we are talking about. Historically, Chira municipality was a sub-county and Mpigi district until November 2000, when the counties of Busiro and Chadongo were carved off Mpigi to form the present Wakiso district that we see today. So the municipality was established by an act of parliament in July 2015 and became operational in the financial year 2016-2017. And the municipality is composed of 6 wards or parishes, and these include, we have got 6 parishes. These include, we have Chireka, we have Chirinya, we have Chira, we have Weyogerere, we have Chaliwajala, and Chimwanyi. So this municipality has got 40 cells, or we can call them also villages. So generally, voter turnout, I must say, in most of the polling stations, me and my camera person were able to visit early today morning. The voter turnout was very low. You could, despite voting materials arriving so early in the morning, because as early as 7 a.m., I must actually say and specify that Electoral Commission did its part to dispatch the voting materials. They're already early at the polling stations, but you could really see the people who were turning up to vote, like just trickling in one by one. Another thing is that even that was at Chaliwajala A, but at Chaliwajala B, in fact, before I go to Chaliwajala B, at Chaliwajala A, there are some polling stations, because this specific polling area has got 6 polling stations, but you could really see about 3 polling stations. You could see even some of the ballot boxes were not yet been open. Even some you could ask the polling officials, do you have the witnesses? You could really see they are still trying to count, and this was about 10 a.m. in the morning. Remember, we know polling always begins as early as 7 a.m. So some of these polling stations, the polling, in fact, the witnesses who are supposed to be there before polling begins, they were not ending up. However, as time went by or went on, they started, of course, making the number, but the voter turnout at Chaliwajala A was really low. When we also moved to Chaliwajala B, the situation was not even also different. People were trickling in one by one. We tried to ask some of the people who were coming, why are we not seeing majority of voters who are supposed to be turning up not appearing? Some were saying that they were saying that they had low civic education about today's polling. They say that what they only knew, what was actually highly publicized, was the presidential and parliamentary elections. And even some suggested that why can't Electoral Commission always begin with the local government elections before they proceed to presidential and parliamentary elections? I also tried to me and my team went as far as Weyogere, where we met the woman MP for Wakiso district, who is called Honorable Bethel Nalima. She told us that government should consider actually making it a public holiday when we are having local government elections. Remember, this is the first interface the local voters always turn to whenever they have challenges. So they feel like government must also emphasize polling activities regarding local council elections by also ensuring that there is a public holiday also mandated for such an exercise. They say that even people were saying that people actually they went to work because they were not aware, most of them were not even aware. They feel like after casting for the president and the parliamentarians, they feel like they are done with voting. So they say that government must emphasize in as far as publicizing local government elections is concerned. Bethel Nalima, she emphasized this actually when we put her on camera. She said that there's been low civic awareness about today's elections. And I think this also goes to the Electoral Commission, that they should emphasize actually making people get much aware about these local government elections. Otherwise, what we experienced today was not really a good show for some of us who were on ground, who moved in most of the polling stations. We went to Chireka, we went to Chirinya, we went to Weyogerere. We were able to traverse most of the polling stations. Even in some of the polling stations, you could really see polling agents having just waiting, just lying. They were just lying and waiting. You're just waiting for people to come in.
Well, of course, Crispus, noting that we have about 40 minutes to close these polls. What is the situation looking like right now?
The situation, yes, people have tried to come, but you can really still tell that the numbers are not still the ones we expected. If you compare to the presidential and parliamentary elections that we had, the polls, if you compare the two, you can really see the number. People, yes, are coming, but they're just coming. The pattern, you waited for about 5 minutes, you see 3 people appearing, 4 people appearing. So that's the kind of situation that we are having.
Well, I also understand, have you managed to speak to some candidates on their mobilization strategies? Because I think it shouldn't only be left to the Electoral Commission. Have you managed to speak to any candidates on their mobilization strategies to see whether they were effective enough on convincing the electorates to come?
In fact, when I try to speak to some of the candidates, they say that as much as it is their responsibility to mobilize their voters to appear for such an election exercise, but they also say that Electoral Commission and Uganda Human Rights Commission, as Constitution gives them the mandate to provide enough civic education to the wananchi of the citizens, they feel like it should actually, the burden must be lying much more on Electoral Commission and Uganda Human Rights Commission, because if we are having a low voter turnout in such an election, it simply means that we can end up having 2 people voting for the leaders who are going to represent such a big population. So they say that they have done their part, but Electoral Commission and Uganda Human Rights Commission, as mandated by Constitution of Uganda, they should do much more, especially for the local government elections, because they say that for the presidential and parliamentary, they did enough civic education. The publicity was much more when you compare to these local government elections that we are having.
But Crispus, one thing still puzzles me, the fact that all these elections were announced and advertised concurrently. We didn't only announce the presidential and parliamentary elections, we also announced, and there were dates, showcased in several places. So maybe this points to maybe several other factors that we will find out later on. But thank you very much, Crispus, for that update. Crispus Arinitwe is reporting from Charlie Wajala, Chira Ward. And Lauren, voter turnout seems to be the song of today.
It seems to be the song of the day. And I mean, to some extent, I honestly wouldn't blame the Ugandan, because if they say You know, we should never tire telling people that, hey, it is your civic duty to cast this vote. Please be available to, you know, to vote, you know, for your leaders. Because if you do not vote for your leaders, then other people will vote, you know, will vote them for you. And then will complain in the end that, oh, why did this man come into, or this lady come into this seat, and yet they're not delivering, you know, as they should, as, you know, as a leader. But also at the same time, I want to put myself in any Ugandan's shoes right now. They just concluded, I liked what Crispus talked about, saying that some leaders said, if the president, you know, there was so much hype for the presidential and parliamentary
but
elections.
who created the hype? Who created the hype? You might say it was the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
And yet it was the parties themselves that created
That
the hype.
is true.
Yeah.
But also, since it was one of the presidential election was the topmost seat in the country, why not it come last? While the district chairpersons, the LC5s, the mayor, city mayor, women representatives, and others could come, you know, in the beginning of the election,
the voting process.
Yes, the whole
But
voting
what would be the rationale?
And then the big fish comes in last.
What would be the rationale, or what would that change? Because if people are still anticipating,
I would feel that Ugandans would look forward to the final, let's say the final day. Remember, today is the 22nd, yes. But do you know, there's some people who didn't know that we're voting until the 6th of Feb. You know, that this elections is still going on for other, other departments, other levels as well. You'll be surprised that Ugandans do not know that. And everyone has been eyeing more of the presidential and not looking so much into these other elections. So, I mean, who is to blame at this point? Have we done enough? Or has the electorate done enough to sensitize Ugandans?
I think at party level, I think it's a multidimensional factor. At party level, I think every party is mandated to make sure they campaign and mobilize their electorates to go and vote.
True.
Then it's also the mandate of the Electoral Commission to ensure that they publicize the voting dates and ensure that, you know, voter participation, or if anything, voter turnout is matched with the registered voters.
True.
So it's not one party to be blamed, but I also think that this could also signal a little bit, perhaps, about the sentiments. I don't know, but hey, take us away.
All right. So, like you said, low voter turnout has been the song of the day. It has that another verse of it in Entebbe municipality for the Wakiso district LC5 chairpersons and council elections, with most polling stations largely empty. Now, many residents say they expected to vote only for the mayor, but were surprised to learn that the elections are also being held for the 27th other local government positions. Now, Entebbe Mayor Fabrice Rulinda blames limited voter sensitization for the low turnout, noting that many residents left polling stations thinking they were only voting for the mayoral seat. Now, our reporter Sula Kagugube has been on ground at several polling stations and brings us the latest updates.
There's always a confusion. I even have friends who have called, wished me luck in this election today. And interestingly, without understanding that there's a difference between the district and the municipalities. So I think maybe Electoral Commission needs to reconsider and either merge the districts and municipalities, since they are not that many, they merge them together on the same election day, or at least do better sensitization on this. But we are expecting that it will be smooth and the election will go peaceful.
What is okay for people of Entebbe as far as participating in this ongoing election is concerned?
No, my plea is that people should go out and get involved in their district elections. The reason being, many of the things that are handled in other local governments like municipalities, town councils, have their roots at the district. For example, the service commission, the land and all that. So it is very important and pertinent that you get involved. and see to it that you elect the leaders who will decide on the things that affect. Only issue or challenge we're seeing so far.
That's also the Entebbe polling station. Voter turnout still being the song. And we have our reporter Sula Kagugube in Entebbe, who is fresh from the Nachiwogo polling station. Sula, how are you? Batugambye oli Entebbe ngate ebiri Entebbe byocha. Tugambe ko ekive Entebbe.
Maka we bali kuweleza muganda wange.
Yes, sebo.
Mu kiseera kino muva ku kifo awalonderwa polling station y'ebbanga Nakiwogo. Tubaddeyo of course enamba y'abalonzi ng'eri wansi ddala, naye newankubadde ng'embeera ebadde nzikakkamu nnyo, but ab'ebyokwerinda oluvannyuma ate bazze ne batuzingako bannamawulire ffenna ne batugaana okukwata ebifaananyi. Tetutegedde ensonga lwaki, naye of course nze nsobodde okwemulula n'enfuna w'empita. Bannange abamu ne bakwatibwa era ne batwalibwa ku poliisi y'Entebbe, oluvannyuma bonna bateereddwa abatali kakwakulizo konna kabateekeddwako. So mu kiseera kino tuli wano ku ofiisi yaffe kubayita ababiri, naye nga bo omuwendo gw'abalonzi mutono ddala mu Entebbe municipality. Maka nsobola okutegeezaako nti ensonga ziringa 3 eziremesezza abantu okwetaba mu kulonda kuno.
Yes, sebo.
Ekisookera ddala nti mu kulonda kwa pulezidenti ennaku ezo zaalangirirwa okubeera public holidays. So ekyo kyawa platform buli muntu okugenda okulonda nti baalinga waka nga bw'aba tagenze waka aba alina kugenda ku polling station okulonda omukulembeze. So olunaku lwaleero lubadde lwakukola abantu abasinga obungi oyinza okulowoozaako nti bagenze ku mirimu era ne batajjumbira kulonda kuno. Ensonga ey'okubiri, in the recent elections voting exercise yalwawo okutandika. So abantu ne bamala ebbanga nga balinze electoral commission nga tennatandika, ebikozesebwa byatuuka kikeerezi. So ate ne mutawayo okutandika okulonda weesanga nga ebyuma machines ze baaleeta zaagaana okukola. So n'olaba nga kyatwala obudde nga bw'omanyi Entebbe municipality nti abantu abalimu it's a corporate place, omuntu aba tayinza kumalawo dakiika 3 ng'alinze. So ne basalawo ne bagamba katusooke tukole ki, katugandalizeeko ku budde tugende. So tobadde tusuubira nti wezinaawerera ssaawa 8 oba oli awo bana batandise okujja. So bwe twogera zino tugenda mu ssaawa 10, wabula polling stations zonna nkalu, abantu bazze bamyeto ddala. Amaka ensonga ey'okusatu, bw'otunuulira olwaleero okwetoolera eggwanga nti bali mu kulonda ba city lord mayors, bakansalas n'ebiringa ebyo, wabuzeewo kamawulire g'okusomesa abantu ku kituufu kye bali mu kulonda olwaleero, kubanga abamu ku balonzi be tulabye babadde batuuka ku different polling stations nga babategeeza nti bazze kulonda meeya wa Entebbe municipality, wabula ate ab'ebyokwerinda nga babategeeza abo tebaliko ku bantu be bagenda okulonda. So olaba nga babaddewo confusion era weesanze nga abamu batambula nga bakola ki, badda ewaka. So yeyo ensonga nga bwe biyimiridde, naye nga of course mu Entebbe municipality okuvuganya walikulu wakati wa NRM n'aboludde oluvuganya ku kifo kya bakansala abagenda okukiikirira disitulikiti y'Wakiso obutereevu, nga mu baana mulimu Sheri Kalyebala. Ono ye mukyala ayagala okukiikirira abakyala obutereevu ku disitulikiti ng'ava mu division B saako ne Kafeero Ronald. Maka njagala okutegeeza nti disitulikiti y'Wakiso eno bukyange gunjibwawo oba bukyange kutulwa ku disitulikiti y'Empigi mu mwaka gwa 2020. Engineer Ian Chone omu ku beesimbyewo ate yasookera ddala okubeera ate ssentebe wa disitulikiti eno, n'afugira ddala okutuuka mu 2011 ng'aba ate n'agikwasa Dr. Matiya Lwanga Bwanika eyabaddeyo okumala ddala ebisanja 3. Waliwo Najjana Steve ng'ono yakwatidde National Unity Platform bendera, naye ate nga mu kiseera kino yabadde omukubiriza w'olukiiko lwa Wakiso District, naye agamba yavuddeyo okuvuganya ku ntebe eno eya gavana wa Wakiso. So nga naye of course naye asuubira nti akalulu kanaggwera ng'alangirirwa ku buwanguzi. So ng'ekyo tukirekera akakiiko k'ebyokulonda okulaba embeera nga bw'enetambula. Mu lukanda luno mulimu omukyalo omu yekka bw'ati Flavia Nakafeero, ono nno ng'ali ku kaadi ya Democratic Front teyatidde nno baami bato n'agamba naye kyekiseera aveeyo akiikirire abakyala eddoboozi lyabwe ate eribulikeke bwoba oliawo guno gwe gunaaba omulundi ogusookedde ddala ku disitulikiti y'Wakiso okulaba ng'ekulembera omukyala singa bannawakiso banaaba bamuwadde omukisa. Maka nsaba okutegeeza nti bwetuulya disitulikiti y'Wakiso eno ekolebwa municipality ate ne constituencies 4 nga mu municipality zino tulinamu Nansana municipality, tulinamu Entebbe municipality, tulinamu Kira, Makindye, Ssalagabo, ate constituencies ne tubaamu ne Busiro South, Busiro East, Busiro North, saako ne Kyaddondo East. Okujjako kyenyala okutegeezaako omulebe waffe omulungi nti era omuwendo gw'abalonzi abali mu disitulikiti y'e Wakiso gwo mungi ddala gweyongeredde ddala okulinnya kubanga bwe tutunulira mu mwaka gwa 2020 okutuuka 2021 abalonzi abali mu disitulikiti y'e Wakiso ennamba baali akakadde kamu mu emitwalo 16,552 nga polling station zaali 10,434. So kati olaba nti emyaka nga bwe gizigiddiringana okuva mu 2021 okutuuka mu 2026 ate omuwendo gw'abalonzi ne gweyongera okuva ku kakadde kamu mu emitwalo 45,119 nga ne polling station zazizeeyongera okutuuka ku 2,452. Bwe twogerera mu kiseera kino nga Wakiso abalonzi abamanyiddwa bali akakadde kamu mu emitwalo 57,333 ng'era bano bw'oba oliawo be basuubira okusalawo wani gwe bazzaayo agenda okufuuka gavana wa disitulikiti y'e Wakiso.
Nze ebibuuzo nga bibiri Sula, bano abalonzi b'ogamba akakadde kamu mu 5 si kyekyo ky'ogambye?
Akakadde kamu emitwalo
15. Ku ndabayo olaba nti banaaweza n'akakadde kamu abalonzi bano.
Maaka n'omulabi waffe akakadde sinyinza obutakyanukula ekyo kubanga bino byenkuwa biri eno munisipaali y'Entebbe. Nyinza okugamba nti abalonzi babadde mu munisipaali y'Entebbe ate ng'Nansana, Kira ne Makindye, Ssaabagabo Tanapu ebadde y'amaanyi. Naye okusinziira ku biri Entebbe mu kiseera kino akakadde kaba kangi abantu ekyamazima akalulu kano abantu tebakajjumbidde bwe mbanga nyinza okukyogera bwentyo.
Then maybe ekyokubiri kyembadde sitegedde bulungi nti abantu bagenze ku polling station ne babagamba nti be bazze okulonda si be balina okulonda. Ekyo kiddemu okinnyonnyole kubanga nze sikitegedde bulungi. Mbadde ndowooza ate y'ensonga ebatutte ku polling station.
Bw'oba oliawo n'omulabe waffe ayinza okuba nti takitegedde bulungi. Abalonzi abamu bagedde mu bawalonderwa nga bamanyi bazze kulonda bammeeya oba abeesimbyewo ku bwa mmeeya bwa municipality kubanga Entebbe is a municipality. So bwe batuuseeyo aba electoral commission ne bagamba nedda tulonda ba Wakiso district governors oba chairpersons and direct councillors. So you find nti abantu abasinga obungi they had that hope. So bwe bagambye ekyo ebyokulonda abamu ne babizira ne basalawo okukola ki okudda ewaka. So of course mu kwogerako nabo nga bo bagamba bwe oliawo electoral commission teyawadde sensitization emala kubategeeza ku kika ky'abantu bwe bagenda kulonda.
Then ekyokubiri ogambye nti nno awo Nakiwogo mubaddeyo abapoliisi oba abajasi ne babagobawo mu abamawulire. Ekyo kivudde ku ki? Wabaddewo akatabanguko ke mukozeewo awo oba kiki?
Tewabadde katabanguko konna kubanga n'abalonzi mpaawo gubadde olabawo okuggyako abapoliisi abaliwo abakuuma embeera oba abakuuma ab'electoral commission akakiiko k'ebyokulonda.
Nga lwaki bajjawo bannamawulire bokka?
Bannamawulire babaddewo tubadde tutalaaga ebitundu ebyenjawulo kati bwe tutuuseewo abamu ku bannaffe ne batandika okuweereza amawulire butereevu okuva Entebbe embeera nga bwe eri mu bifo ebironderwa. So kati ndowooza bano ababadde bakuuma bwe balabye bali tebafuddeyo okumanya kigenda mu maaso. Kati guruupu oba ekibinja ky'abapoliisi bavudde eri ne batwetooloola omulundi gumu ne bazingako waliwo n'ababadde ku mpewo obutereevu ne babakutulayo nga babagamba tebakkirizibwa kukolera awo olw'okuba nti waliraanye balaks y'ebbanga Nakiwogo. Newankubadde nga ati waliwo polling station.
Okay. Bannange webale nnyo. Thank you very much Sula Kagugwe for that update.
Maka.
Yes, sebo.
Kyenjagala omulabi waffe okumutangazaako nti newankubadde babaddewo embeera eyo naye ensonga zikwatiddwa bulungi era tewali azibiddwa. Bannamawulire ne babata era ne babalagira okwamuka ekifo nga tewali alumiziddwa, tewali ageze mu kaduukulu, ebikozesebwa bye byonna abage baddwa Ssebo mukama wange.
Yes, Ssebo. Update eyo nno y'amaanyi, weebale nnyo gikoonamu, tukwebaza. Alright.
Mukama wange tujja kuba tubatuusaako ndowooza amawulire gaffe gabugana bagatimana.
Alright. Weebale nnyo Ssebo. Kale. So that's Sula Kagugube coming in from Nachuogo in Tebe municipality, and of course he's painting the picture of still low voter turnout, but he also expressed concerns over voter misinformation.
Yes.
Yeah, the electorate was misinformed about the particular elections they were going in for the particular voting they were going in for. So
and they get to find out on ground
of
that
course,
they actually...
Yeah, that ties into what you were mentioning about lack of proper civic education.
Yes.
And of course, he also mentioned the other 2 points of not making this a public holiday.
Yes.
And also the much anticipation for the presidential and parliamentary elections. So
I can only imagine during that time, the normal Ugandan has, well, lost a lot. You know, it was a public holiday and there was maybe a bit of fear, and now people are back to business and they want to catch up, you know, with
because the year is running into, you know, school fees is not a few weeks away.
It's just a few weeks away. So people were, but nonetheless, that doesn't, I mean, cause you not to go and vote for your leaders, because these are the people that are going to, you know, help you, develop you, or develop your community or your area. So it's quite important for every Ugandan to go and vote. We still have about 20 minutes. You never know, your vote can make that change. Now we still have more this afternoon. Voting at the Moroto district for the Moroto district chairperson and councillors is still ongoing smoothly, but turnout remains low across the district. Polling stations are using traditional voter registers as the biometric verification kits are not in operation. At Moroto Boma Grounds in Moroto municipality, which has 3 polling stations, only 1 or 2 voters had cast their ballots by 9 a.m. At Tikoni polling station in Tapach sub-county, the station remained largely empty by 11:30 a.m. with about 200 voters recorded. Similarly, in Naitakwe polling station in Nadunget sub-county has seen only few voters, while turnout is slightly higher in Lopotok sub-county, where more residents have been casting their ballots, as you can see in that footage there.
Nakuru Sabina. Nakoma Jasesa.
.33 and so far we have had over 190, the 90th person. So 190 voters since morning. And of the 518 voters we have in this polling station.
Welcome home to entertainment, to Wi-Fi everywhere, to high-speed internet, to security, to first-class support. To convenience. Welcome home to MTN WakaNet, superior internet for every home. Visit www.mtn.co.ug/WakaNet. Welcome home. Together, we are unstoppable.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation, when people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't go.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks, Kupe Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
All right, welcome back from that break. And of course, as we continue to bring you updates from across the country, of course, we did speak to Sula Kagugube, who was in Entebbe municipality, but online we do have Eddie Olwa, who is on ground in Lira City West Division, and he will be giving us a brief on what is going on in the Lango sub-region. Good afternoon, Eddie Olwa. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Lauren, and all our viewers of UBC TV
I am coming to you live from Lira City West Division right now, where I had earlier on promised that I would be finding out some rumors that were coming in, that voting of the women representative to the city.
Yes.
City Council had been halted by the Electoral Commission due to some irregularities on the ballot papers, and I can now confidently confirm to you that it was actually true that voting for the woman representative to Lira City Council, that is for City West Division A and City West Division B, has actually been altered. It has been pushed until further notice because, according to the returning officer, elections of voting could not continue because there was some mismatch in the candidates' information, including their names and the photographs as well, including the symbols which they are using for their different parties and for the independent candidates. I spoke to one of the candidates for the woman representative to the city council, that is Lydia Akelo, who expressed a lot of frustration that they had really prepared to go in for these elections. Her and then the team had mobilized seriously for their agents and also their supporters to go in big numbers to vote. But the Electoral Commission also told us the situation is not isolated in only Lira City West. We have also got report that the same challenge also is in Akalo sub-county, that is in Kwale district, where there is a mismatch of candidates' symbols, the party symbols, and then those also in the independent ticket. So elections there in Akalo Town Council for directly elected councillors to the district has also been halted in Akalo Town Council. But in other areas, according to the EC, voting is continuing because there is no challenge. But in those specific locations, voting cannot go on because of the irregularities.
Okay.
One of the candidates actually was very frustrated and disappointed, saying he had already mobilized a number of motorcycles and actually fueled the motorcycles to help ferry those who want to go and vote so that they could go to their different polling stations.
Okay.
That is how frustrated some candidates who had made some efforts are. But by and large, voting and the turnout of voters is generally low. But in Lira City, the presence of security is not like we witnessed during the presidential and parliamentary elections. The only police constables we can see around are those managing security and peace at the different polling stations.
Yes.
But those who we would see moving on the streets last week and then at some corners and places within the city, the presence of military officers, the presence of military in the streets, we don't see it today. I have been moving around since morning. I haven't seen any. The only police officers that we see are police constables at the different polling stations, who are also seated at the entrance and at the exit.
Yes, Eddie, were you able to also speak to the residents or maybe some of the voters? Why do you think the voter turnout has been this low? I know it has been the song of the day in many regions across the country, but specifically in the Lango region, have you been able to talk to some individuals about maybe why they were not able to vote today, or why generally there was a low voter turnout?
Yeah, so the few we have managed to interact with it, some of them, of course, were not willing to speak to that because we found them already at the polling stations voting. But for those ones we found along the way, most of them expressed frustration in the last election and then demoralization. Some of them say the candidates they were expecting to go through for presidential and parliamentary did not make it. Some of them say the heavy presence of security in the city in the last election kind of demoralized them. So the feeling is not there for them to go and then vote. But some of them just feel this is a simple one that probably maybe their colleagues can go in and decide. So all they wanted is that they needed peace, and then they needed a president who could maintain peace for the country, but also the members of parliament who would go in there and then appropriate and then descend the budget here. So they are not very much bothered with the outcome of these local government elections. And they feel they can carry on with their different activities. But what has also been able to come very clearly from some of the candidates and leaders we spoke to this morning is that there is some kind of bias in the manner in which presidential and parliamentary elections are organized, and then the local government elections. One of the examples that the current mayor, Sam Atul, was able to give us is that during presidential and parliamentary election, there was a public holiday granted on that day and even the following day. But during local government elections, there is no public holiday. So that means those who are in offices may not have the opportunity to come back, especially those who work in districts which are far away from where they vote from. They are unable to return to their home districts and cast their votes. But even those who are still around will also be tied with the several engagements in their offices and their places of work, making them unable to appear at the different polling stations to exercise their constitutional rights of actually deciding who becomes their leader. So he has called upon a number of reforms and also suggesting that if Parliament could come out with a law that ensures that all elections at all levels are conducted in one day, so that we can see the excitement and then the kind of turnout, however much it wasn't as big as possible, but at least we can tell that this one has really, really been low comparing to the presidential and parliamentary elections. So he's suggesting that if all these elections could be organized in one day, where you go and vote for your president, you vote for your member of parliament, and then you also vote for your mayor or district chairperson and the councillors, and also the chairperson LC3 or the division mayors and then their councillors. And then we call it a day, just at once. So we have the same voter turnout, we have the same people deciding for all this kind of long list of leaders at once. So that is what we can bring to you for now, Lauren. But we are here on ground to bring you each and every detail of information and unfolding as and when we get to them. Like I promised earlier, and now I am back again with a confirmation of what was happening, and I still promise to also be bringing in, even in our subsequent bulletins, stories from here.
Thank you so much, Eddie Olwa. Just before you go, we have 3 minutes until 4 p.m. What does, in the location that you're in right now, what if you could look at the police station just near you, what does the environment look like? Is it deserted? Is there a voter or two in line casting their votes? We just have 3 minutes, imagine, till 4 p.m. to the close of voting time.
So what I can see right now is that I only see election officials and then the candidates agents seated in the sun, some of them carrying umbrellas because their location doesn't have trees around where they're seated under. So they're just in the open and then under the scorching sun. And I don't see any voter completely, but they are here seated and waiting for any of the voter who can still show up within the time, and then they can be given opportunity to move in and then cast their votes.
All right. Thank you so much, Eddie Olwa, for that update. Eddie Olwa is correspondent in the Lango sub-region, and we do appreciate you for giving us that update from that region. Enjoy the rest of the day, Eddie.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Of course, he mentions one important thing. We've been talking about either holding the elections at different days before or after, but he mentioned having this in one day, which I think is actually possible. I'm wondering why he didn't think about that.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and also he also brought up the issue of the presidential parliamentary elections had public holidays.
Yeah.
But when it came to these other elections, it's like a normal working day.
And I think that's the recurring point that I think most of our correspondents have been mentioning.
Yes.
And I know for sure that we are going to see a very big range in voter turnout when the numbers come out. And let's wait until the Electoral Commission commits itself with a report.
True.
Otherwise, voting for Masaka City LC5 chairperson is also underway, but the turnout also remains low across most polling stations. 5 candidates are contesting the mayoral seat. Incumbent Florence Namayanja Mukasa, who is representing the NUP seat, Frederick Dembe Luswata, who is on the NRM ticket, Michael Muluindwa Nakumusana, who is on the DP ticket, the former Mayor Godfrey Kayemba Afayo, who is independent, and Sengabi Francis, who is also independent. Namayanja cast a vote at Chitenga Primary School in Nyendo, and she also blamed the low turnout on government not declaring the day a public holiday. These are some of the highlights that you are seeing on your screen.
abakulembeze ku gavumenti ez'ebitundu local government obutafaananako nga bwe kyali kulonda president ku mulundi guno tebadde public holiday ekitegeeza nti abakozi abakola mu bitongole ebyenjawulo ate abamu bakolera mu bifo byanjawulo kiba kizibu nnyo omukozi bw'aba tali ku liivu oba si public holiday okuva gy'avudde agyalonde kyennyamiza nti baabakulira ebyokulonda tebatwalira ddala bukulembeze bwa local government ng'ensonga ate nga local government zeziwa services abantu oba zezisemberedde abantu n'olwekyo kitutiisizaamu nti abantu bazze kitono kijja kuba kizibu okumanya oba okwepima okumanya nti ddala abantu balonze kye baagala.
Baganda olwekyo kino tekyewuunyisa era mbadde nkisuubira naye naddala wano ewaffe ku kyalo kya
All right, and now that is from Masaka. Now on to Mubende town and also other parts of the districts. Voter turnout remained very low, with some residents saying that the results were already predetermined. Take a look.
okutuukiza obuvunaanyizibwa bwabwe nga bannayuganda b'obuvunaanyizibwa olw'okutukosaamu ate kisobola tukusaamu naye singa balonda nga tewali atadde mu buli obutalondeddwa kiba kitegeeza abalonze kubanga akalulu kaffe kasimba majority.
Nze pafuladdeto akalulu zije mulonde manye nti nno bw'aba tayisemu nga bamubya manye nti n'akange bakabbiyemu. Kirungi nnyo, kimalamu abantu essuubi, kimalamu abantu okwesiga n'obwerufu. Kiba kya muwendo nnyo okulangirira oyo abantu gwe bataddeko oba gwe bawanzeko eddusu.
Ddeko abantu bano okwekwatamu ennamba sinnakitegeera bulungi kubanga tetubadde tetulina nnyo obuvuyo wano mu disitulikiti kugamba nti oba abalonzi omuntu waabwe tebamulangiridde naye obuzibu ndowooza abantu bagayadde bugayaazi
nti ate munisipo bwe zitalonda kiba kikosa opposition bansonga ate abantu b'omu byalo bayinza okulonda ate abantu b'ebyalo balonda NRM kati kiyinza okukosa ate oludda oluvuganya gavumenti.
And that's, of course, the report from Mubende town. Quite astonishing, saying that the results are already determined.
Already predetermined.
Predetermined.
Which is not a fact, of course.
Of course.
It has to be declared by the Electoral Commission.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but anyways, that brings us to the end of our broadcast. We really do hope to update you more as updates come in from our various correspondents across the country. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark, and
I'm Lorraine Masika Kazimoto. Do enjoy the rest of our programming here at UBC Television. Good afternoon.